Hey everybody, welcome back. And today we are discussing the topic of whether I think ego is a bad thing or a good thing. So I don't think that there is like a single answer to this, like it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. I think it's more of like there's cases where it's good and there's cases where it's bad. And I did go outside because it's finally a nice weather. And I live in New York, so we never get nice weather. But anyway, I think ego is what kind of drives a lot of great people in this world. So for example, if we look at like any great world leader or people who have done great stuff, they usually do it partly because to fulfill their ego and to be proud of themselves. You can see that in like I'm gonna glaze him in future videos. I'm gonna keep bringing it up, but Alexander the Great, freaking GOAT, in my opinion, probably the coolest person to ever exist. But that guy was fully run by ego. Not fully, but you know. He had a pretty big ego. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as it's controlled. When people have a big ego and it starts hurting others is, I think, when it becomes a concern. Like, some people will have a giant ego even though they did absolutely nothing. And that's where I also think it's a bad thing. I think if you're someone like Alexander the Great, or if you actually accomplish something in your life, then you're allowed to have a bit of an ego. But even with that, if you're flaunting it, like if your whole personality is based off your ego, then that becomes a big problem, because like eventually you're gonna get humbled, and like you're not gonna have a big ego every day. So that means small things like, I don't know, somebody has something cooler than you is gonna make you really insecure, and you basically just end up being an insecure little kid. But if you limit it and, like, let's say you have an ego but it's not that big, it's not your whole personality, it's not the only thing you care about, then is it really that bad of a thing to have? As long as you can control it. I mean, it's just a motivator for some people, so I honestly don't think it's that bad to have somewhat of an ego. Because if we look at the other side of the spectrum, we look at people with no ego, and most of them seem to be, at least if we're looking at it's not a bad thing to have no ego, I guess, but most of them don't really accomplish great things. Which is why my conclusion to this is that it's neither good or bad. Ego is neither good or bad. It's more of an in-between. I like to think of it as like another emotion, like sadness or happiness. It's neither good or bad, but too much of any emotion is usually bad. Too much ego is bad. Too little amount of ego also kind of bad, because you're not gonna accomplish anything. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's my conclusion. And if this gets some views, if this gets some people actually viewing it, give me some ideas. I want to know some other topics you guys want me to discuss. And sorry I've been looking around. I'm just like looking at nature. It's pretty nice to be outside. It's been like the longest winter. Okay, bye.